Hello everyone, welcome back to Edible Abundance Homestead. I'm Ginger and today is May 22nd. So the past month kind of got away from me, but basically what happened was it got warm, then it got cold, then it got really cold, then it got to be Mother's Day, which I misspoke on my last video. I said that around here people typically say you should plant like tomatoes and things on May 1st. It's actually Mother's Day when they say it's safe to plant those things. I usually try to plant them on May 1st. However, like a lot of other areas, it was really, really cold on Mother's Day weekend. I was out here covering my strawberries with frost cloth on Mother's Day weekend. So luckily I had held off planting most of my frost tender things. I had put in some bean plants, just a really quick row of them that I knew I would be able to cover if I needed to, and I did. And actually the bean plant on the end that was probably the least protected, the leaves on the outside of it had some damage. The plant is still alive, but a couple of the leaves look like they got frost damage. So definitely a good thing that everything was covered. So it's been so long and so much has happened, but I'm going to try not to make this a really long video and cover everything. But the big things that have happened since that cold snap and now hopefully we've moved into safe planting weather is I have planted my tomatoes. I am trying this year 7 tomato plants on each cattle panel. Last year I did 5 and I ended up sticking a couple more in between because they seem so far apart. So this year I'm trying 7. I also like to plant basil plants in between the tomato plants, and I am not sure if I'm gonna have space for that or not. I'm gonna have to kind of take a closer look once the peas come down. My basil plants, a couple of them are big enough to probably come out, but they're pretty slow. They've been pretty slow, so I'll probably give them a bit more time anyway in pots. I'm not in a big rush to get them out. Also exciting, I finally have pea blossoms. I feel like they are really late this year. I mean, like I said, we've had a cold spring, but I really think by this time last year I was harvesting a very good amount of peas. And I haven't harvested yet. All I have is the blossoms. These gorgeous sugar magnolia tendril peas have these beautiful, beautiful flowers. They have purple pods. Now, one really unfortunate thing that happened the past 2 days, maybe even 2.5 days, we had ridiculous winds. Like, it just blew and blew and blew. It blew so hard it knocked some of my pea plants down. And so I came out here and I used, this is like a survey tape. It's a little bit stretchy. It's what I use to attach my tomatoes to the trellis. And I came out and I tied up some of these bigger plants. One fell down, got blown over, and I was like, well, I'll just kind of fix that one and leave the rest. Then another one came off and got blown over, and then I came out and I tried to kind of attach most of the big ones that looked in danger of falling over. And I kind of hate it because I feel like the orange ruins the gorgeousness of these plants because I love the purple and the green and they're just so pretty. But I am too close to harvest to be risking my plants over not wanting to use this bright orange survey tape to hold them up. So the wind kind of stopped a lot of work. The tomato plants obviously are small enough, they weren't really concerned. It blew over a couple of my bok choy. You see the yellow flowers over there? That's bok choy that's gone to seed that I was just gonna let go to flower and seed and then collect the seeds. It blew over, but I don't think that's gonna hurt it at this point. You can also see I mulch the tomatoes, and I am trying something new. That one row down there, I put some of my wood chip mulch in the middle and the straws around the tomatoes. Now what I don't like about that is I like to come out here and be barefoot in the garden, and walking on that wood chip mulch barefoot's not very comfortable. So I'm just gonna do that one row because I'm curious to see how it goes. If it's tremendously better with the weeds, then I'll consider doing more. But for this year, just like to be able to be out here barefoot, and that's really uncomfortable on my feet. I will talk about the Corona garden, which is down there around the blackberries, in another video. I'm going to hold off. That's where my beans are, and I'm going to put a couple other things out there. I also planted just the other day, these are zinnias, and I also sprinkled zinnia seeds around here. I kind of tried to keep a couple paths open to access the the tomatoes. But I've got a lot of extra zinnia seeds I just sprinkled around because I decided I wanted kind of a big area of zinnias. Now, the reason I came out here tonight, it's almost dinner time. I'm going to harvest some kale for dinner. The kale has done tremendously well. We have been eating kale sauteed. I have dehydrated kale to save to make like green powder for smoothies. We've been making smoothies every other morning or so with kale in them. I've been juicing and using kale in my juice. It's just done so well. These plants, this lactinato kale and this red Russian kale, I started inside maybe in like January-ish, something like that. And then planted these out, and they had a huge head start on the kale I started from seed, which is down there. This is spinach, and then down at the end that's kale. That is the curly kale, the like blue Scotch kale, I think maybe it's called. And you can see it's just a lot smaller. Now I did harvest some of that kale small the other day to make kale chips for my kids because I wanted it to be a little more tender, and I didn't have to pull that center like vein or stem out of the middle of it. I just left them whole. They were really quite small, so they were still really tender. But they're doing well now. I feel like this kale is getting ready to bolt, and on a couple of occasions I've come out here with the intention of picking it all. I'll pick it all, I'll freeze it, I'll dehydrate it, and just be done with all this kale. But then it cools down, and I kind of figure there's no point in doing that yet. It's supposed to be, our highs are in like the 60s or low 70s for the next couple weeks. So for now, I'm gonna leave it. I do eventually have to get this out of here to make room for planting more summer crops, but I have enough other things that need to be planted for summer that I haven't gotten around to yet that they can wait a little bit. So I'm going to harvest kale for dinner tonight. Over here I have beets that desperately need to be weeded. Some of them seem to be doing really well and getting nice and big, and then some are really kind of puny. So I don't know if that's a nutrient problem or what. And then over here I have broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, kohlrabi. I have a tendency to not have the best luck with these guys. However, this year I have managed to grow one beautiful head of broccoli. I have a couple heads of kale that are doing okay. They're getting some damage from caterpillars. I've been picking them off. I've put DE on them. They're not the biggest heads yet. I don't know how far they'll go before it gets too hot and it's too late, but I'm just gonna leave them for now. So this is exciting. This is exciting. I don't think I've ever grown this nice of a head of broccoli before. And my oldest daughter loves broccoli, so I'm gonna let her come out here to pick this, and she can cook it and eat it, and that'll be great. The other broccoli plants, just not producing much. Obviously I'll leave them. We'll see if anything comes of them. But I don't know why, but that one did, and the one right next to it didn't, so who knows. So that's about all I have for today. Like I said, I have a lot of other things to show because a lot has happened in the last month, and in spite of the weather, I have been out in the garden. I have been working and changing things, but I just don't want to spend a very, very long time doing everything at once, going over everything at once. So I'm going to pick this kale for dinner and go in and finish cooking, and I'm going to leave you with this gorgeous picture of these pea blossoms. Thank you for watching. Bye.